Parasocial relationships have become one of the most complicated byproducts of modern social media. Most viewers experience them harmlessly. A creator posts content, a viewer enjoys it, and that's usually where the connection ends. But in more extreme cases, these one-sided attachments can spiral into confusing online storylines involving impersonation, trolling, emotional fixation, and misunderstandings that become visible to the entire internet. And that's exactly what happened to a TikTok creator named Lauren Rose, whose online life transformed into a viral cautionary tale, one fueled by loneliness, miscommunication, and an audience that often couldn't tell whether they were helping her or unintentionally harming her. Lauren first began posting on TikTok as a simple hobby. She was a 31-year-old woman from Wisconsin, sharing light content, day in the life of videos, lip syncs, casual live streams. She wasn't controversial, she wasn't chasing fame, and she had no history of problematic content. She was just another creator trying to participate in the fast-paced TikTok world. But viewers soon noticed something about Lauren's live streams. She had difficulty reading tone and intent. If someone made a joking comment, she often interpreted it literally. If someone complimented her sarcastically, she assumed they meant it sincerely. And if someone posed as another creator, she often believed them without hesitation. This made her especially vulnerable to developing a parasocial bond with a larger TikTok creator from Florida named Parker. His videos consisted of light comedy, thirst trap style clips, and storytime skits. He had a growing audience and a charismatic online presence, and Lauren began watching his videos regularly. Her admiration started out harmless. She duetted his posts, interacted with his content, and expressed that she thought he was attractive. For most people, a crush on a creator doesn't go any further. But for Lauren, who struggled with social cues and boundaries, the admiration slowly began turning into the belief that she and Parker had a personal connection. At this point, commenters began noticing her reactions. Some viewers found it amusing, others felt bad, and some realized they could provoke extreme responses from her by impersonating Parker directly in her livestream chat. And that's when everything escalated. Fake accounts began appearing, accounts using Parker's name, Parker's profile picture, or usernames that looked almost identical to his. During live streams that they would write things like, "I'm here," or "I miss you," or "I want to talk to you privately." Lauren genuinely believed many of these messages were coming from the real Parker. When people in the chat warned her that it wasn't him, she became conflicted. She would say things like, "I know Parker, we're friends on my other account," or "We battled on TikTok once," or "Parker remembers me, he told me." But other viewers, mostly trolls, kept telling her the opposite. They insisted that the account was real. They encouraged her to flirt, encouraged her to respond, and encouraged her to escalate the situation further. The combination of trolls telling her yes and concerned people telling her no created an incredibly confusing environment. There was no consistent information, no trusted voice, and no real boundary. Some live stream clips show viewers telling her directly, "Parker says he loves you," or "Parker wants your number," or "Parker wants to take you out." In these moments, you can hear Lauren's voice brighten. She responds with lines like, "Does he really?" or "Tell him to message me," or "I knew he liked me." On the other side, there were also viewers trying desperately to warn her. They would say things like, "That's not the real Parker," or "You're being tricked," or "Don't give your number to them." Lauren usually responded by insisting she knew of what she was doing, or that she could handle it, or that she could tell who was real, but in reality, she couldn't. Over time, the fake messages convinced Lauren that she and Parker had a genuine romantic connection, and eventually she announced publicly on TikTok that she was planning to fly from Wisconsin to Florida to meet him. She showed her viewers her packed suitcase. She explained that she had found a cheap flight. She said she would be staying in Florida for a week, and she confidently told the chat that Parker is going to pick me up from the airport. In live stream clips, you can hear her say things like, "I'm leaving Sunday, and yes, he'll be there waiting for me, and I don't need to worry, he told me." But the reality was very different. On the day of her trip, Lauren's grandmother drove her to the airport, and along the way, she confronted Lauren about the situation. Her grandmother calmly told her that the people messaging her were almost certainly trolls. She reminded her that not everything online is real and that people were watching, specifically to see whether she would get tricked. In the clip, her grandmother says something along the lines of, "People are making fun of you. They're waiting to see what happens." Lauren, overwhelmed and defensive, responds loudly, saying things like, "I already know that," and "Why do you keep saying that?" Her frustration grows because in her mind, the emotional investment she has built around Parker feels real, even though the messages never came from him. This moment at the airport is emotional and chaotic. Lauren is visibly upset. Her grandmother is trying to protect her. Viewers watching the live stream are split between sympathy and discomfort. After a long and stressful exchange, Lauren finally agrees to cancel the trip and return home. But the emotional aftermath of the situation didn't end there. Later that day, during another live stream, Lauren attempted to make sense of what had happened. She asked her moderators whether the messages were real or fake. She talked about calling the phone number associated with the impersonator. She said things like, "If it's fake, then I'll just expose them," and "I'm tired of getting played." She even mentioned contacting the TV show Catfish, saying she wanted to find out who is behind the account because she was tired of the emotional confusion. During these streams, you can hear the exhaustion in her voice. She repeatedly says things like, "I just want the truth," and "Why can't they just admit it?" Meanwhile, the chat continues sending mixed signals, some viewers comforting her, others continuing the trolling, and many simply watching everything unfold like a form of entertainment. Eventually, the situation reached Parker himself. During one of his live streams, Parker responded publicly to the situation. He explained that he had never spoken to Lauren. He said people had been impersonating him for more than a year, and that the constant impersonation was overwhelming. He told his audience that misleading Lauren was wrong, especially because she was vulnerable and clearly struggling with the online attention. In the live stream, he says things like, "I feel bad for her," and "Stop egging this on," and "This isn't funny." He emphasizes that he doesn't want to be part of the narrative and asks his viewers to stop encouraging the story, but by that point the story had already gone viral. And the emotional bond Lauren felt toward him didn't disappear overnight. This fixation began affecting her relationships with people in her real life. Lauren briefly dated a man named Antoine, but the relationship was strained from the beginning. In live stream clips, she openly talks about Parker, even while sitting next to Antoine. At one point, she jokingly says, "We like Parker more than each other," something Antoine doesn't react well to. Eventually, the relationship falls apart. Lauren admits on livestream, "I broke up with him for a fake Parker." After realizing she had been misled by an impersonator, she tries to reconcile with Antoine, telling him she wants to get back together, but he mostly responds with silence and uncertainty. Lauren also briefly connects with another man online, who calls her babe over the phone on the first night they speak. She later says on livestream, "I thought we were taking it slow," and explains that he ghosted her the next day. She appears on camera crying, expressing confusion about why people keep disappearing from her life. These emotional patterns repeat again and again. Quick attachments, misunderstandings, intensified expectations, and sudden emotional collapse when reality contradicts what she hoped for. Throughout this time, Lauren continues making references to Parker. At one point, she even uses an AI-generated image of herself and Parker as her profile picture, believing it represented the relationship she imagined. She also begins interacting with other male creators during the livestream battles. In one clip, she asks a creator named Jake if he would like to go out with her. He awkwardly says something along the lines of, "Yeah, we can all hang out," clearly trying to diffuse the situation without hurting her feelings. Lauren then asks him to confirm in front of her live stream audience, and he responds vaguely, trying to keep the mood light while clearly feeling uncomfortable. Throughout these interactions, thousands of people are watching, commenting, teasing, and often laughing, not fully understanding the emotional impact their comments have on her. What makes Lauren's story significant is that it reflects a larger issue within social media culture. When vulnerable people struggle to understand online boundaries, the internet often turns their confusion into entertainment. Parasocial connections become distorted. Trolls step in and amplify the fantasy, and real people end up emotionally harmed in the process. Lauren's story didn't unfold because she wanted attention. It unfolded because she didn't have the tools to separate genuine interactions from manipulative ones, and because the internet rewarded the spectacle of her confusion. Whether her situation improves will depend heavily on how her audience behaves going forward. If viewers choose to be more responsible, if impersonators stop manipulating her, and if creators reinforce clearer boundaries, Lauren could find a safer, healthier online space. But as long as parasocial storylines generate engagement, stories like this will continue happening. And vulnerable creators like Lauren will remain at risk of becoming the internet's next unintended character in a drama they never meant to be part of. This is the ongoing story of Lauren Rose, a story shaped by loneliness, impersonation, and an online world that often doesn't recognize where entertainment ends and where someone's real life begins.